Good evening, one and all, and welcome to tonight's live stream where we are going to wrap up and have the final section of the story. Because I do want to move on to something else, but I still feel like there's some nuggets in this Reddit situation that might be able to help. So we're not going to delay the stream any further. I do apologize about being late. TikTok decided to be a diva on all my platforms and said that I needed to update the live stream. And so, yeah, that happens. Anyways, let's move forward. So, to continue the story, we've already read Bluehost's response, and basically they said, hey, reach out to us. We've been trying to reach out to you through the professional channels. And the person said, well, I've done that, and you have done nothing. And it was kind of determined that this was definitely something where Bluehost potentially had a project manager that was probably on this, or a couple of them, and that this website, it's contradictory because they say to the person, well, the website has been built, but also they said, well, we have check-ins along the way so that there's no miscommunications. So there's some kind of communication breakdown, but the OP is saying the website was fully delivered and now they will only charge them a cancellation fee of $300. Bluehost to say, well, please reach out to us so that we can try to resolve it. And we know now OP is saying, I'm just going to go ahead and dispute the charge, which they have every right to. If they feel like they signed up for a service and they didn't receive the quality, they can definitely do that. But there's more weeds in that story from both sides, between Bluehost and OP, about what happened. However, like I said, I do want to still read, because what this can help me with is trying to make sure that, while I might not have testimonials yet, what I can do to make sure that my page is optimized to have people's trust and understanding in the process beforehand. So let's see. There's a Cayenne says, to be honest, when screening agencies focus on teams that clearly specialize in web and landing page design, ask to see recent live sites, understand their design process, and ask people's feedback. Design focused small studios tend to be good at it. Like, those, like Studio T is one example that can be worth checking out. Let's look at Studio T tonight, since they are given as an example, and see what they have. Oop. This is why you should close all your tabs before you start streaming. Oh well. Studio T. I'll put web agency. Jen. Welcome to the stream, Jen. It is very nice to see you tonight. Let's see. Okay, so they say studio web agency. I don't know how to make this more precise. Pretty sure that you're making some cute shrinky dinks. I've seen a couple of the pictures. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find the Studio T agency because they didn't put down a location, and it is just defaulting to the Cincinnati area because that's where I am about. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show Studio T as an example for agency. Let's see. Also, keep an eye out on how many people are on the call in the room, not even contributing. You're paying for their time. Ooh, you know, IFMA, that's not a lie. Okay. And then top patient 7943 says, if the company has real feedback from clients, like testimonials, and or the company has some already presented use cases where you could see examples of their work that they did before. Some of those use cases may be similar to your request. Have a real person to talk to, not just some AI bot. If you need any help, DM me, we can discuss. I do, yeah, that's going to be a big thing, is people do default, I think, a little bit too often to AI chatbots. I remember I was looking up information at my workplace. I had to use an AI chatbot to try to get contact information for a human. So, how many levels into it does that need to be? Does it even really need to be available? But yeah. Trying to see if this person has any. Yeah, no, I remember reading their comment and I don't think it was productive. Thank you for all the likes. Okay, we already did the ask for other people. Or at least I remember reading that one. Okay, this person, Bell H and K, I'm going to read theirs so that potentially it could help. This person says, I think you should have a clear conversation with them about your vision. I'm a freelance developer myself, and when I talk to clients about a project, I make sure to get a clear picture about the scope of the project. I make sure I have a call initially where I understand the project details, well, in detail, even if the client is not clear on their vision. I ask them relevant questions to get an idea. So whenever you talk to someone, make notice of their intent. Are they asking questions about the project, or are they fixated on the budget and the timeline? Mm, that's good because, in my opinion, that means that they're focused on trying to get your income, not trying to output a good product. I mean, of course, one should get a basic idea of the budget and timeline so that both parties can be on the same page. But the agency should, excuse me, sorry. But the agency should make sure that they get a proper idea about the project and only then quote a timeline and budget. Once you have a good amount of conversation and given the agency all the information about the project, make sure that they draw a proposal for you where they describe the project, the scope, and everything they are going to do. For example, the number of pages they'll create, any special functionalities they'll develop, or the use of forms, how many forms, what they'll do, etc. This helps in analyzing the work before it starts. And you can then make sure the agency is understanding what you're trying to create here. And you can include more things at this stage if need be. I like that. I feel like I've done proposals in the past at the beginning. And so that means I need to keep that. Then ask for a time estimation breakdown of everything. And you can, again, ask questions if something feels off or taking too much time. That makes sense. Yeah, explain what you're doing and why it's going to take you a week to do it. Overall, I would suggest asking a lot of questions, notice if they are keen to answer, and asking a lot of proper, clear questions too. For the too long didn't read version, have a good amount of conversations with the agency and make sure their intent is to understand your requirements rather than squeezing money out of you. I agree with that. Oh, well, apparently we're getting more pieces to the puzzle. So, Educational Reason is saying, or the original poster is saying, to their credit, they did assign me a sales rep to who I really liked. Of course, you did. That's a part of their job. Um, we had several long conversations. I provided several websites that I liked as references to what I wanted, but the design team was incompetent. That's a low blow to just say that for people. They told me to put in tickets on changes I wanted, and after about 5 tickets, I realized this isn't going to work. Um, don't be surprised if you have to put in tickets if you say, hey, I like this, but I want to change that. That's just simply customer service to figure out what needs to be modified to be better for you. Not to be completely in defense for Bluehost, but it's just even if you call any call center, because I've worked at two different ones, you need a request or a change that's more complicated that can't be done within the phone call and has to be followed up on, which if it's a web design thing, it probably will need to be followed up on, then yeah, we they need you to pay in a ticket. And also to make sure that it gets assigned to the right person. Because depending on where the website was in the stage, if it's at the design team or the development team, it might need to go to a different person, or it might need to be passed from one to another. Like the design team might need to make something look a certain way before they can hand it off to the developer. So yeah, no, that's normal. I don't think that's weird, especially with the SEO charges. I think potentially this person should just not put the SEO stuff on there until after the website was designed, honestly. Because I've done SEO on my soap making business for search engine optimization, and until the page is designed, you could do some basic principles on the website, but you really should wait until you actually have it. So I would have potentially not rolled that in and just waited until later. I think it's the combination of getting billed for everything up front is causing the biggest issue. The real warning I want to give to others is that if they can't deliver something that you're happy with, you will not get your money back. Ignore the hype with Bluehost. They are just good at marketing. I feel like it's something that was earlier, 2 episodes ago, or I might just call this a series. They did say don't go to a hosting person for website design. It's just like I wouldn't go to the person that owns the web. Well, the place that I bought my web domain from. I thought about trying to design a website on their site, but they're built to sell URLs. They're not built to sell websites. So, mm-mm. I think it is that combination of you're trying to get everything in one place, and there's a reason why people specialize. And I will say they are good at marketing. And I would say too, yes, ignore the hype, but also you really need to do a comparison between. I normally do a three-person comparison at minimum whenever I'm looking, even if it was to get an estimate on a fence. I would do the same principle with web design, same principle with hosting sites, same principles even with website design. I've been through Wix normally, but I've also tried Webflow, and I'm trying to think of the third place I've tried. Canva is my third place, but Canva I know is just not it for everything because they're really just trying to break into the market. So yeah, try at least three different things before you sit and say, yeah, this is my place. And try to figure out what's the best for you. Or you could come on to Reddit before you made the purchase and ask the question to see people's opinions because from what I can tell, people are very opinionated. Okay, and then is this anything? Yeah, this person basically echoes what I just said. Okay. Citronous Oyster has a comment for OP. They say, I run a web agency in the US. Great. Congratulations. Never switch your domain to anyone, especially if they're not in your country, where you can sue them for accountability. Okay. Why would someone go into a business relationship expecting that they need to sue someone or trying to figure out what country they're in? But okay. Next, ask for references. Always happy to help, or I'm always happy to send them some numbers of clients to call for references, and they do. I'm 50-50 on that because I don't like giving out people's phone numbers. I'm definitely the 90s kids of don't call me if we have to establish a relationship first before I give you my phone number. I don't like my phone number just being shared with anybody without my permission. Someone who was asked on the someone who was on the fence about me ended up signing a contract that day after speaking with one of my clients. Talk to their clients, see what the process is like and what support is like. Then test their sites with this tool, which we've done that before, the page speed dev. I score pretty high on accessibility, so I'm happy about that. But I digress. 75 plus is fine. You don't want a first contentful paint above 2.5 seconds. That means they want the loading speed to be fast, because if lower than 2.5 seconds, people are going to say, okay. Or if you've ever been on your phone on websites, like, why is this taking forever? You don't want that experience. Anything under 50 is terrible. That means they aren't trying to make the best site they can by the best practices of modern web development. Right now, it's load times and accessibility. Proper building and optimization, your site should be a priority. If they are not capable of getting decent page speed scores, then they aren't a good agency, in my opinion. We custom code and get Iris to 95 out of 100, 95, 100 out of 100. It's not that hard when you know what you're doing and put a little effort into it. About SEO, sorry, an SEO is not a plugin or optimizing the for three keywords and your meta description and titles and submitting sitemaps to Google Search Console, blah blah. Okay, tell me how you really feel about it. That's all fine and dandy, but that's not SEO. That's basic web fundamentals. SEO is the process of content creation, new pages to go after more keywords, blogging to answer questions, and add authority, link services every month, monitoring and correcting citations, Google Business Profile, etc. If they're creating more pages to rank for more locations and services or backlinking, then they aren't doing SEO. You don't rank a home page for all keyword locations. It's impossible. And single page websites don't do it. Okay, so he's saying go more into search engine optimization. Don't just say it is, which I still need to finish that SEO GEO video from Wix Studio. So eventually I'll get there. And make sure you hire a team, not a developer who does the design or a marketer who builds the site, because designers can't build, developers can design, and marketeers can't do either. They'd probably but they couldn't design anything. I have designers and SEO partners who do those things for me. I'm a developer and have a team of developers to support me. That should weed out most of the amateurs. Mm, okay, hot take. Okay. Not going to say I'm completely against the concept in the process. I don't like the fact, though, that you're sitting here and saying that people are not generalists, because there are. Actually, most people that end up going into experience design, I don't like using the word user, but most people that do any kind of experience design, product design, research, they probably are a generalist that can do mostly everything up until the point of development. But some developers go back and get their bachelor's degree in uh, human interaction design, so they can design and develop. I don't like that he is portraying this, oh, well, they can't do it all. But there are people that do it all, because with the way that artificial intelligence is pushing the industry, even talking to my mentor, he said they're going to be looking for this new builder breed. And also, prior to that, there was a conversation I was having with some other women that are in the field, and it seems like we're going towards people need to be generalists for a couple years before they can specialize into research, into strategy, into design. So I understand where he's coming from, but I feel like this is more, I shouldn't say him, they are coming from, I feel like this poster is more saying, well, I can't do it, so no one can. But that's not true. I do think some of his points are true, where you should, well, actually, he doesn't even tell him what questions to ask. I just think that the development section is true. that he said. That's based on fact and practices that he's done. So yeah. Let's see. Any other comments? OP does comment back to BH Web Design saying, yeah, well, some of these reviews must be fake. And that is true. That's what I don't want to do is have fake reviews. I would prefer, well, I'm not going to prefer, I'm just only going to have real reviews from real people. I don't like playing that game. Eventually, if you lie, you will get caught. Uh, ooh. And this person, question asker 4422, kind of proves my point, in my opinion, because they said, my opinion, you should, as soon as a company talks about SEO/web design, it never mentions user interaction, which is UI, and user experience, which is what UX stands for, then consider them con artists. I've never seen so many so called web agencies that don't even know what UX and UI is or why it's important. Yeah. Yep. Just, I'm not saying that they're con artists for not mentioning it, but I do agree. That's what the specialty field of human interaction design or human centric interaction design is. It's a whole back, it goes into a doctorate level degree. So, yeah. Anything else? Oh, well, this one has a lot of comments. So, Esh Eshna the Kerr. Take a drink anytime that I say these names correctly. They say yes, legitimate web companies exist, but big hosting brands are usually the worst place to look. They bundle design and SEO, outsource the work, and lock people into contracts. Your experience is unfortunately common. How to screen legitimate providers. Avoid prepaid SEO or long contracts. Okay, I'll keep that in mind that my contracts don't need to be 5 to 10 pages long. Keep them short, simple, and to the point, but not have too much room for interpretation. Ask who actually builds the site, in house versus outsourced. That's fair. Real reviews, real recent WordPress sites they build. Okay, I guess OP asked for a WordPress site in the past. Get a clear written scope before paying. Absolutely. You should know what you're paying for. I don't want someone to walk out of a car dealership without knowing what type of car they bought. Make sure you own the domain hosting and admin access, as you should. Mhm. Talk to the actual developer, not just the sales rep. I agree with that. For small businesses, freelancers, or small studios are often safer than bigger companies. If it feels pushy or salesy, walk away. So it is kind of like buying a car, or at least how it used to be before they had places like Carvana, because I felt the same way in the car dealerships. Hmm. Is this person actually explaining how they set up their stuff? Because I saw the word GitHub in here. I'm scanning over this because that's a pretty high level comment. I don't agree with their comment of AI writes all your code now because I've seen it try to do that and I see that it doesn't work. So I'm not going to act like it does. I think that they actually, my test site for speed demos and Linux tips. I'm going to open this because I'm curious. Oh, Forge OS. Are you an AI startup or Quest? I guess this is an AI web designer. That's interesting. I don't. Okay, so for Black History Month too, someone mentioned that we should try to attempt not to use AI as much as possible because of the way that it's currently set up. So I think maybe a time and a place for this in the future when we've looked at what resources we're burning, but I don't think that this is a time and place right now. So I'm going to keep scrolling. I'm trying. You know how it's the fear of missing out. Like, oh, am I going to miss something because I didn't read through all the page? Actually, can I even get to the bottom of the page and read it? I highly doubt it because this thing is like 10 days old. Yeah, nope. Oh, so yeah, I'm going to have to miss out on something because this is just. If it's been posted for 12 days, it's going to take. Oh, actually, that's day 6. Might be able to find a competitor though. I love how earlier we had someone that said, don't use a web company outside your country. But then there's one that's in here that's from the United Kingdom. So that's funny. I feel like they're. This is just my personal thing. I don't like working with fake money. Just saying that as a personality trait. So the fact that they say Bitcoin Treasury, I don't like it. But also, I just think I'm resistant to Bitcoin. So, yeah. Oh, Bespoke. I did something that was a web design project with that in the past. Let's click Bespoke Web Design. Clear enhance this. They have a lot of animations and you can't pause them, which annoys me. Custom built websites for growth, performances. Every bespoke website we create starts with understanding your goals, our team, designs, and build your website from the ground up, ensures every detail your brand delivers measurable results. They do mention SEO. Jeez, little Pete. I don't know what 4,995 euros converts to, but I feel like we're about to find out. I can't not. 4,995 euros to USD because carry $5,000. Mm. Okay, and that's for unlimited page. Okay, well, it's also unlimited pages, design, creative free. That sounds like they'll probably do some graphic design. And I despise when I see these 3 words on a page. So you will not catch this on my page. I will try to disclose as much as possible. Because price on request me means I don't have the budget. It works for them though. And they have an annual fee. I only get annual fee credit cards. I do believe I will have some support services that are built. I don't know if I want built in or to the side. Okay, but they do have a full process. Research. Okay. Design. There's a good inspo at the bottom of how they run their process. Build. Launch. Support. I don't like that it took me. So I'm like 50-50 because I like knowing the price up front. Don't get me wrong. So I rather know as soon as possible that it's out of my price range before I touch something. But I kind of wish this was closer to the top. And I feel like these graphics look very close to Canva graphics. Not going to lie. Because if I was to pull up bespoke graphics for my portfolio, because I did a hackathon back a while ago. I know I need my designs. Do, 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 do. Want to see an old design of mine? Yeah, okay, this gives the best example of what I mean. This is a website built in Canva. Like I said, there's restrictions, and this is probably second or third rendition of it. And I'd still do it differently today because every time it's different. But you'll see, okay, I did similar to them: overview, problem statement, research plan, the design process. But you see how there's this, like, oh, accessible to children, engaging. This was specifically about an app that is being developed for a child or children that have issues with color blindness, basically. So yeah, even back then I was worried about people being able to see, and that's a focus. I did not realize that until I pulled this up. But you can see the graphics there look very similar to these graphics, which is weird. Hmm. Extras and add-ons, yeah, I was like, they have logo designs. Marketing and SEO, grow your audience, this and this, move forward. Editor, content manager services. Like I said, the only part that's a red flag to me is the Bitcoin. So I'm going to keep that competitor and save them. This is a good way to do competitive analysis. See what they're doing, see what I like. This person owns an agency. Excuse me. They ask a lot of questions. But I also do just want to see their websites in general. Say, come on, taxi service. They're in animations too, but that's fine. Popular destinations. I think this is a pretty clear website. Doing tours, cars. That spacing is a little bit weird. This is built on WordPress though. They do have the Trusted by Pilgrim. So what's the resources tab for the blog, which is used for SEO to get more people, I guess. Okay. Our cars, our routes. Huh. Oh, so they said this is where I shamelessly plug in my services. Okay. And I think I use Pride2Solve. Here's their business intake. You want a free consultation. Let's see what their intake form looks like. So, business website intake form, they ask for the name of the business, industry type, describe your business in 2 to 3 sentences. What products, services do you offer? What is your customer? I am going to just. I've seen a couple different intake forms. I just want to see where theirs goes. I've actually recently critiqued someone's because I was like, Do you really want to know this or do you really want to know that? Provide business address, phone number, email. Do you have existing social media? Business hours, website features and goals. Okay. They give you some leads questions, but you can't select multiples because what if you want to provide information about your business and sell products? You're forced to choose a priority. What sections do you want? Okay, home, services, blog, portfolio, gallery. What features do you need? Okay. Contact form, booking, schedule, e-commerce. Does your website accept online payments? That's important to know. Because you can have it set up with Square and a couple other different vendors. Content and material. Okay, and I see the progress bar moving too. This is about, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sections. I have not actually, well, no, I was about to say I haven't designed a survey and tally. No, I have. I have. Do you have written content? No. You could do this. No. Design inspiration. This looks almost too familiar to another survey that I did. So I guess that this is just industry standard. And I totally need to set this up for myself as well. Do you have a domain name, web address? No, I need to get one. No. Oh, I still like this. The when do you expect the website to be completed? Because if you're willing to allow the person to no rush, just get it done when you're ready, great. It's not an expectation. We do understand that's like sometimes it's like, no, if I don't do this today, then I'm never going to get it done. So I do like how they have it broken down into a couple weeks. And then site range, price, final details, any specific features, anything you'd like to know. Okay, I'm not obviously going to submit this, but I am going to save this tally form because that was very good to walk through. And they're called Premier Dev Solutions. Just curious, Wappalizer, what web development service comes up? I see that they're doing Tailwind and Next.js to develop the site. And it looks like they're using Framer's library. So this is being built on Framer, which is another web building platform. In my opinion, it's a close competitor to Webflow. They both do very similar things. Yeah. Oh, I like that about them, to meet the team. Okay, William Simons, founder and lead developer. I like that there's a picture of the person so that you can see who's doing the design for you. Well, the development for you. I like that. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's in South Carolina? Okay. And he shows on the side there's web development, UX design, mobile. So that's very clear and concise to the point. He only has 3 platforms. I'm even thinking about on my little menu over here that I'm going to probably be slimming this down because I don't need 5 platforms. And honestly, I don't post on Instagram really. Facebook is just there because it used to be there. I'm going to focus on the big 3 on the left. So, yeah. Thank you for all the likes again. Anything else that I feel is important? Just use UI prompt book. What's your site? I can redesign it for free and share an image here. I don't I want to see what UI prompt book is. I am uncertain that this person wants something for free. Oh, I have not tried vibe coding. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I have not tried because the people that I have seen doing it, I have ethical problems with their business models because they may or may not have taken a web conference and pulled it from their website from 2023 and proceeded to put a price tag on it and not pay any of the speakers that were a part of that conference. So, people have actions, people have choices. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's conning people to say vibe coding is going to solve everything. But maybe that's all I do on Saturday is just attempt to vibe code for myself and see what happens. So I also feel like though if I don't know the principles of coding, that could be dangerous. It's similar to, well, you don't know the principle of design. That's how you get the door incident. Because that's all the way back where design actually starts is the push pull door. We've all probably gone someplace and it's like, oh, you're supposed to pull this door instead of push it. But if you look at it and it has the wrong handle type, you just assume one way or another, and it causes you to walk in and almost break a door. So that's one of the principles. It's like, yeah. Designing for common logic patterns. Hmm. Okay. I love this person. Don't go to Fiverr. I'm going to read their whole thing, and that's going to be my wrap for tonight because I've actually been chit chatting here for a good 50 minutes just to wrap this one up. And I think this is a good one to leave on. So, John Casey 3306 says the web agency model is dying. Sadly, the only ones managing to survive are the ones charging the most in return for the least. Here is the irony. Those kinds of multiple disciplinary agencies ought to hand off the design and build work to freelancers and then apply 100% markup charging on to you. I know this as a freelancer working for such agencies. And you know what? I can back that up because I remember there was a community that I was a part of where I actually did the bespoke web design with. And one of the companies that she worked for, she said, well, you could be, it's like joining a creative circle. And they want freelancers to join it so they can have contracts going out to them. But then her issue was she got all this experience. She worked with bigger brand names like Whirlpool and everything else because of this agency, but because she was able to as a freelancer, even though she had the experience when she went to try to apply for jobs, they didn't consider her to be as experienced because she was freelancing instead of being a contract or a full-time worker at that company. So this person says their advice is go straight to the source. Google search for experienced senior freelance web designers located near your business. Find a local person who is a good fit for you that can build a relationship with. Well, that you can build a relationship with and who can get to know your business. The agency alternative is a miracle round of account managers who will not be doing the work themselves and whose job is literally just to placate you and get you to sign off the least possible effort for the highest possible price. Don't go to Fiverr. And I remember earlier between the last 2 days mentioning that I think that there was a project manager or account manager that was a part of this, which caused the issue. They weren't actually the people developing the site, so that's why they needed the tickets to be in there. And I do agree with this person. Fiverr is a mixed bag. And while I'll say there is, if Etsy is to crafters, where they charge you fees and everything else to be on their platform, but you're trying to sell into marketplace. That's what Fiverr is for freelancers. So is Upwork. They both are harder platforms to get on, and a lot of times, good designers, good anything, any service that you need on Fiverr is going to look like, okay, I either have to pay $700 or $7. And it's causing issues to people with those trades and those skills to be able to actually find work, because the first ones that pop up is the $7 people. And why would you search for someone that's going to want to do your website for $100 and give you all these things when you can get the same for 7? It's unfortunately kind of turning everyone against each other. So I agree. Lesson learned from this whole thing from OP is check multiple sources when you can. Don't go to places like Fiverr to find your freelancers. Try to find local people that can help you. Attempt to do agencies, but try to see what all they're really about beforehand. And unfortunately, I think that the small business owner had to learn it the hard way. I wish that we had a conclusion of, I did find this, but it's so fresh and so new. It's happened within 2 weeks. I wish this original poster the best and that they're able to find someone to create their 5 pages so that they can continue with their business and just leave this in the past. And so we'll go ahead and call that a wrap for this Reddit story. I did not think this episode 3 was going to last 3 days. Um, I'm probably just going to go ahead and post a compilation of the full thing onto YouTube in a little bit, and that means video editing, so fun. And yeah, next week the schedule will be actually sticking to the schedule that I had planned, because this did not. So the dates are not on here correctly, but Monday will still be ADA Basics webinar, so continuing the knowledge. February Tuesday will be a screen break where I'm just not on. I might come on just because I feel like it, but it's not a required day because honestly, I do my day job in the morning. Well, thank you for the compliments. Um, on Tuesday, I just take a screen break. That's normally when I had to go in for my day job, so I don't want to try to do too much. On Wednesday, we're going to be doing, instead of the web evaluation, because that was finished, we will be working on actually redesigning my website and going more in detail with the bullet points. On Thursday, I do have another Reddit story picked out. I don't think that it will be as long as this one. So, Thursday, oh, I haven't even titled it yet. We can do that though. Okay, so this is talking more about pricing. So why SEO ranges from 200 to 5,000. So we'll go into figuring out cracking the pricing of SEO. That's probably what it will be called. We'll do that for now. And then, thank you, Lil Izza. Have a great rest of your night. And on Friday, we'll go back to the Wix SEO slash GEO story that I did not finish on Friday. And then on Saturday, we'll be working on the Ashbury Art Rebuild again. I might see you guys on Sunday if I feel like signing on. I don't have any plans to, though. I do plan to take a little bit of time off, but for now, I do want to thank you again for tuning into the stream and have a great night. Bye bye.